Action Comics 23.2, aka Zod, written by Greg Pak, art by Ken Lashley. So, we've never actually met Zod in Action Comics, I don't think. He's a totally new character, so we don't have to deal with, oh, here's how he fits in the story. Instead, we pick up way back in the past, and we have Zod as a kid, and he's looking over essentially a little fishbowl full of monsters, and he's like, my name's Zod, I really like monsters. And his dad picks one up and is like, all right, this one's ripe, we're going to dissect it. And Zod doesn't want it to, he sees it as a pet, but Daddy Zod's like, hey, kid, we're scientists. We can't get sentimental, okay? See, this monster is like a young little youth version of the monsters that are on this island that is on Krypton, because eventually people are going to want to expand and live on this island, and we need to find a way to kill all the monsters that are on this island. I know I don't have to explain this to you. I'm explaining it to the audience. And so he's like, yeah, okay, all right, I guess, no tears. But as they're about to dissect this monster, it seems that another monster, possibly the mother, starts attacking their little science bay pod, and they have to run away and flee out into the wilderness, which is, might I remind you, full of monsters. So they start running their way out, and we have Zod saying, like, I don't think my parents ever hugged me, but, like, as they were getting me out of there, they held me tighter than I've ever been held before. And they make their way out, and it's like, yeah, there's no escape for them. So then we cut to 1 year later, and we see Jor-El and Zor-El on a ship, and they're both arriving on this island. And turns out this is like Jor-El's science trip or something like that, but it got turned into a rescue mission because they picked up on a beacon requesting help. So they arrive on this island, and they see a skull there, which then a monster immediately leaps out at them, but then is shot with 2 sticks in the neck, killing it. And we see that it is Zod, and Zod has gone full Green Arrow. Like, he has a bow, and he's, like, living off the land and whatnot. And they're like, hey, you must be Zod. We came to save you. And he's like, oh, great, my heroes. So, flash forward 15 years later. He's fighting off a whole bunch of lizard people, and he's like, oh, by command of Zod, no fear, soldiers. We will defeat these people. And as he's fighting them, turns out it's all just a danger room exercise. It's all a hologram. And he gets prematurely canceled in it because there's some, like, grand gala he has to go to or something. And they're like, oh, hey, there's looks like those insects are really going to be a problem. He's like, actually, they're called the Char, and they're lizard people. And everyone laughs, and he says, they've always laughed at me because I was like the Jungle Boy that was brought back and rescued. I'm a fun little story that they don't take seriously, but oh, they'll take me seriously. So we see at the gala, it's at the House of El. He's rubbing elbows with Jor-El, and Jor-El's like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm built for the lab, not the battlefield. I wouldn't fit in there with you. And he's like, I don't know, give it a shot, man. And Zor-El comes up and basically says, hey, here's the thing. I need to talk to you. We finally sterilized the island that your parents died on. We didn't find anything, but we did managed to capture one monster that was left over, and it was the same type of monster that they were going to dissect that day, and it's being kept here in like a stasis sort of thing. And Zod sees it, and he's like super pissed off. So some time passes, a few years later, and we see that Zod has gotten a couple of followers, Feora, for instance, and he goes into this room where all of these war things are kept, and they're just collecting dust because they're not a war society anymore. They're all about science and whatnot. But as they walk in there and pick up some weapons or whatnot, all of a sudden it is under attack, and the guard is trying to fight back, not very well. And we see that the thing that is attacking is the Char, these lizard people who he's trained for against. And he's like, it's the Char. They're finally launching their attack. We will prevail. And so they launch into action. They fight against this monster, and they manage to cut off its head. And Zod presents it to the people saying, like, this was just the first one. We need to go, and we need to take them out now. Who's with me? We will train you and make you soldiers again. And everyone's all very militaristic and patriotic. And so we see Archon, the home of the Char. They're just chilling one day. They see some planes overhead, and they're like, look, it's birds. And it's like, wait a minute, those ain't birds. Them are drones. And then all of a sudden, everyone is attacked on the planet. So everyone is like, yes, let's celebrate our victory over the Char. We have taken them out before they could get to us. But Jor-El did some digging, and he brings Zod to his lab, and he's like, "Hey, Zod, here's the deal." Boom, punches him in the face, and Zod's like, "Excuse me, I am the general. You just committed treason." He's like, "Excuse me, you're the one who committed treason, Zod." And it turns out that Jor-El, he investigated the genome of the monster that attacked the Kryptonian planet, and it was actually just a genetic experiment that was made on planet by Zod in order to fuel a war with this other planet. And this definitely has nothing to do with the war in Iraq. I want to make that clear to you. This has nothing to do with the war in Iraq. So they basically say, "Oh, yes, by order of the council, you will be sent to the Phantom Zone. What do you say? Like, what are your final words?" And he says, "I promise you this, no matter where I go, no matter who I am, I will always be your monster." And they send him away into the Phantom Zone. And then we get one more flashback to him running with his parents away from the monsters. His mother gets captured, and he's like, "No, Mom, what are we supposed to do, Dad?" And he's just like, "We have to leave her. Her being eaten is the only chance we'll have to survive. I'm so sorry, son." And he's like, "I'm sorry too, Dad." And he takes a stick and jabs it in his father's eye so that he's able to survive and run away even further. And we get one final page of Zod and several other people in the Phantom Zone watching a image of Superman saying, "Ah, yes, I this is what has become of Krypton. I will go out and I will show that he needs me again." So, end. I think it was good. I think that it did a good job of, not only does it set up this idea of, Zod is this militaristic person, but I never liked the idea that Zod was immediately present for the downfall of Krypton. I think that it's better that he be sent away far beforehand and Krypton has nothing to do with him. I think this was a fine enough thing of saying Zod is overly militaristic to the point of he's picking fights, and that's why he's a villain. It's a good enough job there. I will say at no point in here was there a kneel. That's disappointing, but can't win them all. So I'm going to give this one, I'll give this 7.5. I think it was good. I think it was a nice solid introduction to Zod as the New 52 version. I do think that having him kill his father might have been just a little bit of overkill, but if you want him to live in the jungle for a year and be self-sufficient and whatnot, okay, sure, I guess, have your way, but 7.5 for it.